Thermal imaging. Why would I want thermal imaging in a ghost hunt? Anybody? It's interactive, I promise.
Energy.
No. Try again.
To see something?
Temperatures. Cold spots, folks. We are literally looking for cold spots. You guys should be able to see me in there. I'm orange, red, and yellow. If you guys were a bridal party, I would be the hottest thing in the frame. But everything around me should be somewhat blue or black, right? So those are our cold spots. If they move, that's what we're looking for tonight. This is recording audio and video. You seem very excited, Andrew. He's like, yes, I am all over that guy. So with this particular camera, it doesn't always capture something. I'll be quite honest. Again, I don't like to make things up. I get about 4 to 5 good pieces per year. So we won't catch anything unless it's recording. As great as the hardware is, Andrew, the software sucks. I will give you, he's very excited, so it's going straight to him. So the smiles just went ear to ear. So I will give you the starts and stops. We are going to record this first half, so that way everybody kind of has the gist of how to use it. There is a blue dot bouncing around the screen, giving us the coldest point in the frame at that moment. You can use that as kind of a, I don't know, a guide to look for those cold spots. It will be in the video. You also have a bar here on the right-hand side that will give you the highs and lows that are in the frame at that moment. You can use that. That will not be in the video. So even with our starts and stops, I'm going to splice it all together so you guys only have one video to watch. Is that fair?
Yep.
All right. So you're going to keep this camera on the left-hand side at all times. Get used to how it works. Point it at people, point it at cars for right now while we're all standing here. Again, you really want to go stand. It's pretty close here.
Yeah, the tires are hot.
Let's get into spirit boxes. Spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. So, spirit boxes are we're going to use 4 different types of spirit boxes tonight. Hi guys, can I help you out?
Hi, yeah, we're here for the ghost tour.
This is the ghost hunting tour, and I already have all of my people. You're probably looking for bulldog tours.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to go straight down there and make a left.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. So, spirit boxes, back to those. This is going to sweep through FM radio stations at a very quick rate. On your TV shows and YouTube videos, it basically is white noise, and then the host will tell you what he thinks he heard in the middle of it, trying to convince you of the same thing. We're going to be doing this in real time. So, I have 2 of these. They will be spread out. Each group will actually have a different type of spirit box. But with this one in particular, this one's going to record the entire session for us. I have mine slowed down so it's not just white noise. The radio chatter will come through. I want you to hear the song lyrics, the DJs, and the commercials. Whatever you hear, it's a 50-50 shot. Then I can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history we're talking about, or even something going on with one of us. So, tomorrow morning, I'm going to spot check this guy and give you about 15 to 20 markers of things that I heard. If it's relevant, because I'm going to give you things that might not be relevant. If it is, I'll give you the link where I got my information from with an explanation. Again, I don't make things up on this tour. So, I didn't see anybody's eyeballs light up with this one.
I love straight on.
Oh, perfect. So whatever is heard in real time, I keep a little notepad with me so that I can still write it down, because I might not catch it in my spot check tomorrow morning. So your volume button for this guy is right here at the top. I'm going to give you a set of earbuds. You're going to be the only one that can hear it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I'm not going to give you the pink ones.
I don't care.
I do not want earbuds back.
Right.
Earwax is gross.
I agree.
So, the second one does the exact same thing, only it will not record. So, Caitlin, this one's going to go to you. Oh, I got another one. Don't worry about you. I got you, buddy. You had a little bit of a eyes went real big. So, again, it works.
That's how warm she is. But that blue dot mouse around, that's what he says is the
that's
coldest.
Where the coldest spot is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like over there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the blue.
Yeah.
That's the coldest spot over there in the shade.
Is it Matthew?
Yes.
Look at me getting names right. No, right? Maybe because I didn't tour for the past 2 days. Maybe that's it. Yours is not going to record either, but yours is open air. So 2 of you are going to have to listen in on this so you can verify what you heard. So again, that's kind of how this one works.
I'm his mother.
Gotcha.
Actually, I want
Check that out.
here.
So your button for volume is right here at the side. So right here on the side, you're going to hold it up to get some volume and then hold it
Yeah,
down.
so it's like
obviously,
10
to get
degrees
the volume
cooler
to turn
than like a
down when I'm
person. So
talking.
you're like 80,
So again, it's a gentle hold. It's not a press
83, 82 degrees. Yeah, nice. Wow. Huh? And then look at the tires, like you said. As we go by.
Oh, it's right there. Yep. Yours is even set up with it. I don't know why. Your plug's not in. Last spirit box.
That was over there.
Every group.
Like, yeah, like over there in that
Oh,
gravel
I see.
parking lot or whatever. Yeah.
Your spirit box. Yours runs completely different than everybody else's.
Okay.
So yours is going to give us, and I'm going to show everybody so they know what we're looking at. It's going to show us a word from time to time in the center of the screen. Okay? So it's going to save all of those words into a list. That list, like my last story had 82 terms. That's about average. I'm going to clear them out and start us off fresh because they already have their list. Can we get a louder golf cart to go by?
I know, right?
So your list, 80% of it doesn't mean anything. That is a phone app, which means it is meant to be a game and a hoax. The game we're playing is did it come from a ghost or did it come from the app?
Okay.
We will know by the specific details that will pop up out of it how it's going to work. So when I want to see the list, you see the little white button next to the word? Looks like a scroll.
The little white button next. Yeah.
So go ahead and tap it. When I want to see the list, you don't need to show me everything that pops up. I'll come to you and say, where are we at with the list?
Okay.
And that's how you'll show it to me.
Okay.
Hit the circle back in the top right. Perfect. You got it.
Okay.
Nice and easy to use. All right. Let's get into this. Let's go into this crazy thing. We're going to use another type of camera here. Let's see, you guys are already set. Alright, so first let me show you guys how this works and what it actually does. You should not be able to see me in this camera. I'm going to do 2 rounds. Lights are off. Let's turn the lights on. So we're using infrared lighting here. This is light you can't see with your own eyes. So our hope here is that we're going to capture something we cannot see with our own eyes. So we're going to have an accompanying item that actually goes along with this. But Debbie, this one's going to go to you. So we do record with this one, starts and stops, but I will let you know where to get started with that. Again, all of this intro to these devices, I'm going to show you more about this stuff at our first location, like more hands-on kind of a mentality.
Do you want to keep running right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to keep it on, it's just not recording.
Oh.
This is the neuralizer from Men in Black. None of you are going to... There it is. We're going to work with some lasers tonight.
Oh, fun.
Lasers get Nick in a lot of trouble, which means they need to stay on the ground. Okay? The reason why we use lasers is because we can see them very clearly on your camera, but you can't see the lasers until something passes through it. The hope is that we're going to capture something through that camera, and you guys are, and I did this separately at 2 different parties on purpose, so that way you guys aren't literally on top of each other. But you're going to keep these lasers on the ground, so that way, you know, she can shoot film through it, and it's going to be quick. It's not going to hang out and say, hey, I'm right here, come find me. It's going to be fast. That's why we want a video camera on it. The second laser that you're going to be using has red squares. The reason why we use red squares, guys, is if we capture something here and I can get the video still, I can put that in 3D software and give you a full 3D view of what we caught along with measurements. So how cool is that? I've had this thing for almost a year, and the 3D software almost grabbed 2 things that we caught. So again, it's just a matter of does it really want to grab it or not. So again, both lasers stay on the ground. You don't want to cross the streams, right? Bad Ghostbuster joke, but it does work here. You do want to kind of keep them separated out a little bit. So that way she can actually film a bigger spray of lasers.
You'll tell us when we need to be doing this.
Yes, there's only certain places we can use those.
Okay.
So the reason why I did it is to use another earbud, that way you guys EMF detectors. So these are super important. You guys have seen these all on TV. These are going to measure any type of electromagnetic field, and that does include any kind of signal from electrical wires or parking meters or anything like that. We use this to kind of debunk some things. Even our cell phones, if it's close enough. Sorry, my cell phone's not.
He was saying he'll go ding,
Oh,
ding, ding,
gotcha.
ding.
Fair enough.
I don't have to push any buttons.
Nope. You don't have to do anything but hold it.
Man, after 80 years of technology.
Your device does the exact same thing as his does, but it's a little bit more accurate. This is called a millimeter, everybody. Candy? All right, so Candy's job, she's going to be our multitasker. So her device actually does 3 different functions. The first thing it does is it does the same things that Larry's does, only it's way more accurate. Anything above 2.5 on your big number, I want to know what it is. The bottom number measures ambient temperature from this yellow probe at the top. In the event Andrew captures something on the camera, you and I can debunk it pretty quickly or prove it pretty quickly based on where it's coming from. The last thing that it does, the most interesting piece, is that it's a REM pod, meaning if anything gets close to that antenna, it will go off. The closer it goes, the higher it goes. It also gives us different colors on the screen. I just interrupted the EMF field. So again, we can always use a call and answer based on the colors that are on the top. So I'll show you more about that at the first location. For now, just leave the little flap open and kind of focus on those red numbers.
Okay.
All right, guys, go have fun. Let me know what happens. All right, so I know you guys all have questions, but I'm going to, again, show you more at our first stop. So a couple of things. If batteries start to die, I'll need to know immediately. I know for sure yours will die, probably about halfway through, so I'll need to change that. Yes, I carry 5 different batteries, and I have a restock of batteries for every one of the devices that are in your hands. So with that
green thing, where it just finishes down here, the green
Yep.
thing? Okay.
Yeah, it'll just shut off and go blank. So, all right, and I do carry a full stock of batteries. So let's talk about why we started here. The place behind me, Big John's, that was in the text that I sent everybody. You guys got me talking a lot already. I'm gonna take a drink. I love the laughter and I can you guys have to remember, I see an array of different kinds of people. So when I get a group that's very quiet, it's kind of like, oh, they're hating this. It is. But you guys are all chatty. I see smiles on your faces. This is going to be a good night. So Big John's behind me. This place used to be called Big John's back in the day. It just reopened a few months ago. But Big John was a football player. This was his bar. He used to sit in the back of the bar and tell the bartender if the cadets were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in. They're not old enough to drink. So Big John has a bartender, throw them out. They leave pretty angry. They come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on and he recognizes the cadets and he goes up to them and he just beats the hell out of them. Just starts pounding them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets hit in the neck and the bullet ends up landing in the wall. John gets up after being shot and goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor an ambulance. So, nobody dies in that story. So what's the whole purpose of me telling it to you? The bullet hole is allegedly still here. Even after the renovations, if it's not still here, John's blood is in this building. The only time I've ever had EMF from these 2 devices has been in the front of the building where that bullet hole was. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, headache. I just had a couple that came to my tour the other night that said that they just ate there before the tour and she couldn't finish her dinner because she was too nauseous. Just to give you a perfect example. We're dealing with paranormal activity tonight, fingers crossed. So if activity does occur and it does make you feel a little ill, I need to know immediately so that way we can move the whole group to safety. Is that fair? I will say that people, they really don't know exactly what they're getting themselves into until they start dealing with this kind of thing. I will tell you that nothing we're going through tonight is going to be malevolent, nothing is going to be dark, demonic, anything of that nature. Again, we're dealing with real history of Charleston here. So let's get our minds off our own health before somebody really decides they don't want to be here. So, same place. We had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you guys took any kind of Charleston tour, you already knew that because we all talk about it. It was a big deal for us. This is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The mantle you see in the middle of the building also goes around to the front of the building on the east bay side. So that white mantling, a piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head and killed him. They say you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. Notice I said allegedly and they say. I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour. So, People chuckle when I say that, or they get really
You
quiet,
were
especially if I
sitting
got
at the
kids.
front. You were sitting at
I
the
was
front.
sitting at the front.
Yeah.
Oh boy, how'd you feel?
Fine.
Okay. Well, John must not be hanging out tonight. All right, are you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna go this way.
That's a weird word.
Crash.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably didn't really need my jacket. I didn't have my jacket. I think I would have gotten
You would
cold.
have been cold.
Because
Yeah.
it was just a thin
Yeah.
shirt, you know.
We've been a lot.
Anything to this extent?
That's pretty funny.
Well, you didn't do the one that just had the dowsing rods, because I know there's a dowsing rods.
It did other things, but I had a really interesting session with the dowsing rods, and prior to that, I totally did not believe in them at all.
Okay.
But it was extremely interesting.
So you had, okay.
It went
talk
on for
more.
like 20 minutes. It was
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, we actually have like, as we're walking from place to place, you guys can put me in on what happened there. Because I've been to Gettysburg.
It was interesting.
All right, so welcome. I want you, first off, I think of your entire time with me as kind of a ghost hunting 101. Like these are crash courses and actually how to capture spirits and go about doing this. This is your first level. This place is going to be very easy, only because we're not going to spend a lot of time here. It's literally just a place for me to show you more tactics with your device and kind of get you guys going until we really deep dive into some of the dark, longer history of Charleston. So the red barn behind you is where we keep the horses for the carriage ride. The horses are in that building. So Matthew, you want to keep your spirit box pretty low when we're in this area just because they don't like the white noise. Also, lasers cannot go on that building. You will spook those ponies and they will kick that metal wall and scare the bejesus out of all of us. So the only history here, guys, is really simple. This is the same red barn where we held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. I will always slow down with certain keywords of every single story I tell you because there's 4 different spirit boxes working tonight. So let's talk about those spirit boxes. This is not TV. This is not, is somebody here? Like everybody wants to ask, right? Because that's everybody's first question. If somebody answers no, somebody's here. So we're not going to ask yes or no questions tonight, okay? There's always a way to rephrase a question. You're going to ask questions you already know the answer to. For example, if somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is, right? So now we know we're looking and listening for the color red. With the 3 spirit boxes that actually you have to listen to, the word red might not be in the vocabulary of that DJ or song lyric or whatever's coming through. But fire truck, blood, heart, all 3 of those things are specifically red. So that would be an acceptable answer. It's happened multiple times. Actually, I think 2 weeks ago we had the word cardinal. Cardinals are generally red. Cardinals. So, if you don't get an answer to what color is the big red barn, you can open it up. What's inside the big red barn? Anything related to horses, obviously the word delivery, milk, and eggs are also acceptable because we're talking about the history of this place. We don't know who's here. I usually require 2 pieces of evidence or 2 things from Spirit Box to verify what's going on. For example, we're so close to Big John. His teammates feel like they come through all the time. If Caitlin hears the number 40 and Vicky sees the word art on hers. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You see where I have to put these clues together? It's not going to be one word and I'm going, woohoo, we have evidence. I need to verify what's going on. So a lot of the stories tonight are going to have a lot of Johns, a lot of Elizas, that Georges. Like there's just going to be a lot of the very similar names. We need to know who the heck we're talking to. So again, as we're kind of going through things, it's always going to be, 2 pieces of information to verify what's actually happening. So, spirit boxes, feel free to spread out. When we're in spaces like this, we're going to stay away from vehicles. Luckily for us tonight, there's only 2 vehicles nearby. EMF meters, so Candy, I'm going to go to you next after I work with the cameras, because I always work with the cameras first, because there's a lot going on with those, so that way I can show you how to use that motion meter. Larry, you got anything going on there? Nothing, which is very interesting. Sometimes
it's coming up.
That's a blip.
with
you got a little bit of a blip,
Yeah.
okay?
but it goes away after a little bit.
Well, that's why they call it hunting. They're not going to stand still. So,
There's a couple of them going.
so basically, you guys should be following Larry and Candy to see where the hot spots are. They're going to know where the higher EMFs are, especially those with spirit boxes. So the cameras, I do want you to stay back with me for just a minute. I'm going to show you more tactics and then start bouncing around with all of you to make sure like everybody's on track with what we're going to be doing at the next stop. So 2 video cameras, come this way. Everybody else, spread out. Start following wherever the high markers are with Candy and Larry's device.
Lawrence, you're over there. I have to call him Lawrence.
Okay.
Family has to call him.
Gotcha. All right, so with your, we're going to start with thermal imaging. So
And
thermal,
this should be recording, right? Is that
It
what
is.
Okay.
don't pay any attention to the timer.
Okay.
It likes to just stop, and as long as that square is going, we're good.
The red
So-
square.
Right. So
Okay.
when I tell you let's stop the video, you're going to tap the red square. It'll
Okay.
turn to a circle.
Okay.
So with your particular camera, you're going to try to keep somebody in view at all times. The
Okay.
reason why is because we're going to be the warmest things out here. So if you take us out, obviously you just seen the ground kind of bleed out to all red. So with this size of a group, it should be pretty easy to be able to keep somebody in view. Also, that blue dot will default to the sky if you have it in your frame. It's going to be hard to do and impossible in some areas that we go to tonight, but you want to try to keep a person in, the sky out. So that's usually the gist. Nice slow movements. Nobody likes their cars being filmed, so that goes to the both of you. So if somebody's going to their vehicle, you're simply going to go the opposite way or just casually hold your device. Yours is a little harder to hide. Yours looks like a cell phone because it is
Sure.
a cell phone.
Yep.
But people just don't like their
Yep.
cars filmed.
Yeah.
But kind of keep that in mind. But nice slow movements. When I say let's take a break, it's only because I don't want to lose the footage we already have.
Sure. Okay.
After our next place, and we kind of, like I'm about to give you some answers to what we were trying to find out, I'll say let's give the videos a break, and that's when you guys will both stop your videos.
Okay.
You won't start yours until after I'm done with the history at the next place. I'll say let's get your video started, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay. But yeah, feel free to, I mean, you have lots of different types of material in here, which is another reason why I like to start here with that camera. You have wood, asphalt, metal, foliage. I mean, just learn how it works and how it's going to flow.
Okay.
So that, I mean, again, you're the cameraman. We don't know if it's going to capture anything. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
So have some fun with it. I'm going to show Debbie a few tricks.
Okay.
And, we'll move on. Once
Okay.
I bounce around with everybody.
All right.
Your camera. So go ahead and point it at me for a second. You have 2 different lights working.
Once in a while, it's gone to a 0.01, but it's only heavily reactive.
What'd you find?
Now it says ground. Did you get some more insight on what to do?
Not a lot.
Oh, you didn't.
But it's basically to keep it, always have someone in view. Don't point it up to the sky.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, it defaults, the cold spot defaults to the sky.
Oh, I see.
But just to kind of follow
Keep people on.
behind, yeah.
Anybody else see anything? Hearing anything? Okay.
Supervisor, though. So
Oh, you got some flashing going on over there.
Well, that's pretty red there. And I want the short range and the long range.
You can leave them both on right now. So we're going to talk about lasers for a second. So go ahead and shine them down for me. Figure out how to turn them on yet?
I didn't try.
Okay, so this one has a dot. You can feel the dot right there. That's where the laser comes out. So that's where you want to make sure you're pulling it down. And then yours, this one has a toggle switch. So once you let go, it stays on. So you just have to be careful. This one you have to hold on. There's a button right there. So go ahead and turn them on. So when you're shooting this, you don't want to shoot down. We already know what the dots look like. You want to be a few feet away and shoot through it. That's where we're hoping something's going to pass by. Does that make sense now?
Now come look at it and tell me if I'm...
I can already tell you're going to be fine.
Okay.
Just from where you're
That's what
standing.
you want. That
Yep,
will give you
exactly.
everything.
So again, if you can see my hands going through it, that's us talking. They don't like us talking.
You have that turned down, don't you? Your status.
Yeah, he's good. I can't hear you. So that's from us talking. So again, that's kind of what we're doing.
Okay.
Like this is almost a safe space.
Yeah, that is really funny. It was on cue. Maybe it wasn't on.
Come on over. I'll show you how to use that REM pod. So, with your device, we're going to turn off the temperature. We only turn that back on in the event that you actually find something cold on the camera. So, let's pull your antenna up.
Blue.
So flip the device around where the flap is open.
That's super cool.
So you're looking at the back.
I just want one of these to
You need to look at the back.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
take it out at night.
So there's
put it
two
in the
light buttons
restaurant.
back here. Do you see them?
That was right. Yeah, exactly.
So go ahead and click it into place. I make you guys do it because it can be tricky. You got to push it all the way into the device. So it clicks.
Well, that's a fun word.
It's a little tricky.
So it's
Alright,
picking
now
up
it's gonna be
radio.
bright, so turn it around. Just keep it
Radio.
Well, he
Red.
said this
Okay,
is
so
like
with your device, if
it's
something
like a
gets
video
close,
game
obviously
and
it's
it
gonna
just
make a lot of
generates
noise.
words,
You're
but
gonna see
every
all the
so
different colors.
often
However,
there
with
might be
your
a word.
Try to give this to females because you guys walk way more gracefully.
Depending
than
on
us.
what time
So
and where, there
with
could
your
be a
steps and
word that
movements, it's gonna
actually
go
is
off.
not
So there's a way
a
to
hoax
reset
or
it
like
because there's a field around it.
like I guess
So
a
on
ghost.
the right-hand side where your
Put it
thumb
on
is,
here.
you feel four
Oh,
buttons. The
okay,
very bottom
got it.
is the one
That's
you
what I'm
want.
guessing.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you
Because
can
it
click
resets
that,
every
and
so
your
often I
thumb
gotta do
should be
this.
there constantly to make sure it's not your movements making you go off. It's just false positives. So again, you're going to see, and these
There's
work
that F word.
independently, so you can get
I
a
know,
reading there
right?
and not here, and vice versa. So again, they don't measure the same type of EMF. So that's how you're going to use that. And oftentimes when I'm telling history, I'll say turn the REM pod off. That's the white button in the back. Just because it's, yep, and it'll be smashed in. You'll see it. So you just click it again, it'll bounce out, and then you won't have this green light up here anymore. So, did we heard anything on spirit boxes yet? No. Nothing at all? Nothing for them?
I'm just hearing like a sports station.
Let me make sure it's sweeping.
Oh, his is the one with the scan
Yes,
like
it's sweeping.
radio.
So, we'll see what pops up. Any words on your word list?
Liver now. There
Liver?
was there was move. There's quite a few.
Okay.
Naughty word in there.
Yeah, I see that.
But the movement, touch ground. It stayed here for quite some time.
So I don't see anything that's relevant. We're going
Okay.
to get rid of this just to keep it family friendly. Ah, there we go.
Okay.
All right, let's go learn some real history, everybody. Let's go dive in. Instead of just ponies and football players.
It's definitely warmer tonight than it was last night because it's not windy.
Yeah,
Not windy.
yeah. It's a nice night.
It's like 2 o'clock.
Everybody in possession of all the entries and exits to this space. So, welcome to another beautiful spot of Charleston. Another parking lot. Let's definitely turn off the REM pod. I'm going to give you some history of this location. As far as those listening to spirit boxes, try to keep just one earbud in so you can actually capture the history at the same time. So, this space used to be something. Am I boring already? I seen that yawn. I call out yawners, just so you all know. So this space used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansion. Their mansion sat in the front of this space. Eliza's garden was lined up with that Five Church restaurant over there and came all the way across. And we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So who the heck were these people? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles, and they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses, in case you lost track. Again, how we always need the double clue. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. Pretty big deal for us, but none of you are from here and probably don't care. And I don't like talking about politics anyway. So let's talk about Eliza. I should first warn you, I'm not going to be giving the Spirit Box teams, I seen that yawn, Spirit Box teams questions like what color is George Washington's white horse? We're not going to be doing that types of questions here. You will get the answers from your Spirit Boxes. So, she's looking at her like, you better do your homework. So, with that said, Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. We're talking about a woman from colonial times, so don't get that colonial young age mixed up with today's young age. So, with that said, Charles was over double her age when they got married. So, Spirit Box teams, you can ask how old she was or how old Charles was, and hopefully you get that answer. As far as why she married Charles, her father over in England thought he was dying, and he wanted to see all of his kids one last time. She didn't think he was dying, so she got married. This is the 1740s. There's no such thing as a green card or marrying for citizenship because we weren't a country yet. We're still colonies. So, with that, Dad gets better. So Eliza was right. He didn't die right away. He starts sending her gifts to this place. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Debbie has it on right now. It started right where you're standing. Now. Sorry, that just distracted me. I was getting ready to shout again, and it didn't need to be happening. So anyways, indigo was already here from our slaves. The Gullah slaves already brought it with them, but Eliza needed to learn how to keep it cultivated in our obviously not hot temperatures all the time. So she learned from her slaves that were on site and then turned it over to a plantation in Mount Pleasant, just north of here, another home of theirs. Now we have a full big plantation that she needs to sell. So she calls her dad and says, hey, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo. He gives her some contacts, and now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. That is absolutely unheard of for this time period. So let's get into the weird stuff about Eliza, because that's why you guys are all here, the weird stuff, right? So Eliza was the second wife named Eliza. So now we have 3 Georges, 2 Elizas. Not 3 Georges, 3 Charles. There are Georges, we'll read into that later. 2 Elizas. Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Ask which Eliza we're speaking with. Ask what her maiden name was. You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's not here anymore. Then you can ask when that tragedy happened. I'm going to give you the clue that yes, it was a tragedy. As far as her children, I told you there's at least one. He's a sign of the Constitution, Charles. There's more. Ask how many and get their names, but leave it alone with that. Only because there's a tragedy among those kids, and we won't have any kind of EMF activity like what we have with Larry's device. I don't know what the other EMF has given us, if anything at all yet, but everything will stop if we poke the bear too hard with the tragedy of one of her kids. So be very simple with those questions. As far as Eliza's death, she's open. Ask her how old she was when she died. What did she die from? Where is she buried? And what U.S. president took her to her grave? Like, that's a big deal. He acted as a pallbearer at his own request. So it's a pretty big deal. These are very specific questions, obviously non-yes or no questions. You can go rogue and ask whatever else you want to. Just make sure it's something we can prove. Anything dealing with the slaves and the servants that were here, I can't prove it. There's no records. So if things pop up for direct answers, that's the only proof we have. I cannot give you links for those. As far as cars that are in here, we are not going to be going near vehicles. We have a pretty decent open space still. And cameras, you already know the rules, no filming of people's cars. So I think that covers the basis of, yeah, I think I covered all of them. So what happens from here is we're going to spread out. We're going to turn up those spirit boxes. Depending on what's going to happen, we will spend a minimum of 10 minutes here. So if we get more activity where I can start linking things together, it will make sense. We'll probably stay about 15, 18 minutes. Again, we have more places to see other than just this empty parking lot. So let's have some fun. Lasers will set off car alarms. No pressure on you at all. So again, face down, away from vehicles. And again, notice that we're in spaces right now that are away from the other tours. So there's a reason for that, so that way we can really get going with things. As we move along, we're going to see those much bigger tours, and I'll kind of give us those heads-up warnings. Notice I only go to 10 people. I don't care about getting as many tickets sold as I can. I want you guys all to have fun. So I'm trying to memorize everybody's name, and I think I've done pretty decent so far. There's a couple of you, I'm like, I'm not calling that name because I don't know what it is yet. So again, let's spread out. Let's have some fun. Debbie, we need to turn on your camera to get you some footage going. Your on button right here. And I'll help you out from time to time. If it freezes, I need to know because I've been waiting. Sometimes it freezes up if we start recording too early. So if your frame freezes, just let me know. We'll pop the battery and get it going again. Not a big deal. All right, let's spread out. Let's get those spirit boxes running. You can turn yours up a little bit higher. We're not spooking any horses.
As a slave.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what all those questions were for.
So there's a randomly you'll get a different word.
Yeah.
It's measuring electric fields.
What was it at? Going purple? Eliza, which president was a pallbearer? Eliza, which Eliza is it?
I think I heard the number was first go.
Are we supposed to be asking questions as well?
Well, I don't know.
20.
Maybe.
We're still close to Big John.
I mean,
That was his jersey.
we don't have any way to get feedback.
Keep going. All right, how's your word list coming?
It's stuck here. You the word mama popped up and then stayed on Kevin for a few minutes. But that doesn't seem like a colonial name.
No, it's nothing I can link to the pink names
Yeah.
at least.
But mama was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Right here. It's like, because you said that was a slave holder area, right?
Or it could have also been Eliza.
Should have been.
She was a mother.
So can we ask questions?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You should be asking questions.
Okay, okay. All right.
Coalition. I don't think I've ever seen that pop up, to be honest. I've been using this thing for years.
Okay.
And every once in a while it'll still surprise me. That's why we
Yeah.
still use it.
Why does it go crazy like this?
It's
every
all
time?
for the aesthetic.
Okay.
It's all the BS that comes with it.
Okay.
It makes noise and growls and does all stupid shit.
All right, okay. All right, all right.
Well, if this thing's working in this spot right here.
So.
Eliza, are you here?
That's common for in here. They've never done a dig in here. There's no wire.
Eliza, are you talking to us right now?
We have to be able to prove it. You can't ask questions like that.
Oh,
You have to be like, Eliza, how many children did you have? Eliza, did you well, I can't answer that. I was gonna say, did you enjoy selling indigo? Eliza, when did you start selling indigo? Eliza, I'm so impressed with you. Businesswoman back in the day. It's
yeah,
amazing.
way to go.
Interested to hear what you got going on.
Eliza, who was your pallbearer?
Yeah. Eliza, how much older was your husband? He said twice her age. but we don't-
He did, yeah. He didn't say, yeah.
Right.
He didn't.
throw in your card. Did he say how old she was?
When she passed?
Yeah.
I didn't hear him say that. What's it saying now? Herself. Oh.
I didn't ask that question. I didn't ask anything.
Eliza, who's with you now?
Thank you. He is staring at it. Last past did you guys put that in? Does everybody watch the vehicle? They're going to be backing up.
Shut the camera off. Were these walls the original walls?
No. This isn't even the original size of the plat of land. So the median that's back there to separate the two lots, that wasn't there. So it actually went over that probably by an extra 40 to 50 feet.
Okay.
These walls actually belong to a restaurant called Molly Darcy's. So, any other words pop up on your end?
I mean, a couple things have come up, but again, I don't know. I didn't ask anything that would have correlated with these words.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good amount going so far.
Yeah.
Ooh, scary.
What came up?
Scared.
Oh, it's funny.
You guys both, you should prove right now. Matt and Bree, yeah, what have you heard? Anything?
Well, I told you about 20.
Yeah, did hear the number 20. 26, no on all accounts.
I asked her about the fire.
And
Okay.
then this turned blue, and he heard the word experience.
Are you sure you're not a ghost?
I'm pretty sure most people
I'm
test
getting a lot of paranormal activity there from you.
Actually,
Everybody
so
wants
I
to
just
test.
went up to 7, so.
7's still a good number on yours.
Thank you.
Matthew, did you even hear that thing?
Ooh, the oven.
It's still pretty. That thing's loud. That truck's normally not there, so you guys know. And writing in the dark is a new skill. Didn't you guys know that?
Yes, absolutely.
That's why it takes me 2 hours to get you your data back, because I'm trying to decipher my own hieroglyphics. Yours.
Yeah,
But
just a
reading
minute
it
ago,
in the dark
it
is
said something else.
even more skill.
We're not going that far.
Scare something, covenant, yours. Is that a sentence?
Well, yeah, like that ghost story. Well, they must. I don't know.
Liza, did you write a letter to your
I'm
father?
really surprised you haven't heard anything.
Well, it's
I
turned
guess
red.
they're not going to answer yes or no. I got to ask something different. It can't be yes or no. Eliza, what did you get from your father? What kind of gift did you get from your father?
That is
Said costume.
So they come up crystal clear when I find them on that camera.
Now, like I said, I don't know if it was a moth fly, but something flew by really fast in front of me. Could have been a bug. You'll be able to.
Most of them are. I'll be honest, when I find them, I freeze frame it and see, kind of look at the way it's light pattern and all that stuff.
It's up to 38. Do you want to tell me it's up to 38?
To 38? Dude, it's going up, yeah.
Hey, Chris, it's up to 38 over here.
It went up to 47.
Oh,
and then
wow.
it-
Holy cow.
But it normally doesn't switch that quickly.
Huh.
8.7.
Is Charles here or Eliza?
It stopped.
I'm going to give you guys all the answers too. I'm not going to leave you hanging.
It stopped.
So I'm waiting to see if any more EMF's going to
She
come
was
up.
going nuts a second
It
ago.
went up to 47.
Nice.
But and it was going like really, really sporadic. Now it's not doing anything anymore. Yeah.
So 47 was the highest?
The 47 was the highest.
Wow, it's down to 0 now.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
amazing.
And you saw it. It was jumping
Yeah,
like crazy.
yeah. And what is this one measuring again?
So it measures EMF, just like the same one that
Oh,
Larry's does,
okay.
but it also is measuring movement.
Ah.
So again, the field on the antenna is pretty small. You can make it pretty grand, but with us being outside, and it would be super sensitive if you were walking around with it. Like it would go
Right.
off the whole time. So that's why I make it as small as I can, especially for a moving type thing.
Yeah, now it stopped. Now it's on 0.
Wow.
Yeah, he said about the fire and it went blue, and then he heard it too.
Matthew, anything else? No.
Still sitting here.
Oh, she's back there. Anything on your end?
Did you calculate your profit for your business? How much money did you
Yeah.
make back in the day? What was your business?
My arm scan is a little bit tired. Nikki, anything else come up?
Still on calculate. Oh, dash. Just pop the dash. Are there certain words that you've seen like
Over and over and over again?
Yeah. Okay.
And it doesn't come just from yours. It'll come from
Like
all.
what you're hearing and yeah, okay.
Fire is pretty common here.
Wow.
I mean, and then sometimes we'll get the year, which is a very specific number.
Okay.
Wow.
So get some. This is probably one of my biggest hotbeds for activity.
Okay.
However, it's disappointing me tonight because so far we only have 2 things that have been somewhat relevant. Because I don't have another clue that says that it is relevant.
Okay.
Plus, that's your lasers again if you want. Keep them off the charts.
Yeah, when it gets to the red. I'm just at 47, and it was going nuts. It was like very nuts.
Just looking at some of the gravel's wet. But again, when I'm going through this, it's going to be super
Final,
fast.
and then I got
moving.
manufacturer.
Wow.
Just so you know, the tip of the green
Interesting.
one,
I
keep it
said,
on.
what kind of business
Yeah.
did you
Will
have?
change. So you want to try to
She's
keep
a
as many dots
manufacturer.
as possible. So that way there's a bigger
Welcome to you.
opportunity for them to actually pass by. Because sometimes it's real small and it'll just be a blip. So
What kind of,
if
did
you have a
you
ton
have
of them out there,
animals?
then it actually helps.
Did you have other animals?
16.
Wow. His has been a steady 15.
Standing here, which is 16.
Did you have any?
Chris, anything?
pets? Did you
Nope.
have? Did you have pets? That's a yes or no, sorry.
Yeah.
Did you? What kind of?
All right. I
animals
say we
were
give
there
you guys
here?
some answers because I'm not hearing a whole lot that you guys are telling me that you're hearing or seeing that's actually going to be, very exciting until I actually go through the data the next day, which is going to be tomorrow morning. So let's go ahead and stop your video. So hit that top button like I showed you. Andrew, you can stop your. As long as the camera's to the left, so you're good. You're recording.
Oh, so right now I'm recording.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Larry, you hanging in there, buddy? You okay? So, welcome to Lodge Alley. Matthew, let's definitely turn that down in here. So what's going on in here is, again, this is residual. So anybody hear any names? Nothing? You got any names on your list? All right. So the reason why I ask for names is because people used to live here. This is one of the very first streets we ever had in Charlestown. When I say Charlestown, not Charleston. The last crosswalk we just came over, that's where the original Charlestown wall used to be. So this would have been inside the walled city. The people that lived here were considered lower class. Little tiny shotgun houses, 1 to 2 room houses that were down here. Obviously not the 2 giant buildings you see now. Makes sense that they were lower class because the smell of low tide would have been coming over the wall this way. The other part of the wall was across the street on East Bay Street. So the names I commonly get are Benjamin and John. Now, it sounds like two very common names, but that's 2 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801. So even if I hear, like, for example, Ben Roethlisberger, right? We all know who he is. I'm not even a football fan, and I know who he is. So again, if I get that, that's obviously a clue, especially if I get another name of John. That's, again, 2 out of 5 people every 6 to 7 weeks. I don't call that coincidence. So again, we're on week 3 right now in my rotation of how often I hear it, so I wasn't sure what to expect. But every once in a while, a third name will pop up, Jane. Jane also lived here in 1801. Can I find any significance of these people? No. Other than their names on a list of people that lived here at the same time. There's no other instance that I can find that says these people were significant to Charlestown in some way, shape, or form. They did do an archaeological dig underneath these Belgian blocks that you're standing on. They found some of their tools and some of their clothing. That's how another piece we were able to classify them as lower class. It's called Lodge Alley because the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here before people lived here. So we will hear Freemason, brick, Masonic, the word Mason, Illuminati. All of these things will pop up, and I can't make this stuff up. Every time I get an Illuminati, I have to chuckle because I got one for the first time over the summer, and I've heard 2 more since then. So very interesting that all of these things pop up in this space. So let's talk about why it's not an intelligent space. The Belgian blocks you're walking on are original. They're granite. They're made straight from the earth. It is a kind of a theory that anything straight from the earth, such as granite or limestone, hangs on to the consciousness of memories. So with that, it's almost like I'm watching a movie, not a tape, every 6 to 7 weeks, and I hear Benjamin and John's names for whatever reason. So take that for what it's worth. That's what I'm looking for when I'm down here. I have seen some shadow figures with the thermal imaging, just weird cold spots that show up out of the blue. No pun intended, because it is blue. We've caught plenty of orbs down here with your camera, and my wife is a photographer. That's what she does. That's what she went to school for. She works on all my book covers, but we've been down here day and night taking pictures with different styles of cameras to make sure like what we're capturing is actually legit, based on lenses, based on flares. There's all kinds of lights, as you can see. So again, we've tested this space I don't know how many times to make sure like what we're capturing on the tours is legit. So I do have to change out Debbie's battery, and I'll do that as we're walking to our next space. Again, names, I wasn't sure what to expect. If something pops up, great. EMF readings, we might get some from the restaurant. It's not open right now, but again, still some things might be running in there. So if we get a major spike, like over 20, I would be very pleased with that. Little tiny things under 15 or 10, probably coming from one of the 2 buildings. What you guys are leaning on with the yellow building, that's Lodge Alley Inn, obviously named after the alley, but every hotel here has a claim of a ghost, just so you guys know. This upcoming summer, my wife and I will be taking a round robin to all of the haunted rooms, so that way we can verify and check all of these claims of hauntings, and they will be in the podcast whether it is haunted or not. They do not give me free rooms. I've already tried. So it's just a matter of, we live here, we're going to pay for it and keep all of our local businesses going. So again, if you're staying at a hotel down here, I'm telling you, just Google it. You'll find a ghost somewhere. Some of these places won't rent out specific rooms because of their hauntings. So very suspicious, I say, but I'll take all my gear and kind of see what happens. What's going to happen from here is we're going to walk to another alley that I cannot take you down. I've been kicked out. You guys joined the group of weirdos with all of your gadgets and gizmos and lights and blinkies. So it is residential at the end, so I can't take you down the alley. However, telling you the story of what happened down that alley outside of it, we still get enough evidence to prove that those 2 people that were down there actually existed, and they are talking to us every single week. So very interesting space there as well. Not to mention, it is gorgeous. If you love taking pictures, day or night, to me, it is the most picturesque place we have in all of Charleston. So, cameras, actually, Andrew, since you're going on running one, once we leave here, we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood, so you'll have to cut off your camera. I'm literally taking you on the very edge of where tour guides are allowed to take you. I say tour guides in quotes because you guys have all been on ghost tours in the past, and this is not a normal ghost tour. So we're going to leave this alley and make a right. Definitely keep listening. Definitely keep an eye on your EMF. I'll see what's happening there. lasers, you're still out of the game for a little bit longer. She's like, I'm okay with that. I don't want to be in trouble. So definitely keep listening to your spirit boxes. I'm going to take Debbie's camera, and we're going to walk slowly through the alley so Andrew can get us some footage.
Feeling any pressure?
This is part of a filter.
But it sounds like that's not too here. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Not in it, but on the other side. And I've been walking across this.
Any strange words popping up?
Got the letter H.
Oh, that's interesting.
Visible.
Huh. Make sure you're all red here.
Pilot. It's funny because the word crash, plane, and pilot have now come up.
Really? That is...
Over the time that I've had it in my hand.
Huh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Giving me chills.
H could be for Hudson River. That's the last time this came up.
Huh.
Lingering with me. We're having a conversation. Whatever you want. What's your name? Do you have a name?
It's not very high because I did daytime. I'm in
Still on linger.
Yep. Distinguish. Just move to distinguish.
Huh. Oh, wait, crazy. Wow. That was quick.
Sometimes it stays for a while. I've never. Feel.
Huh.
I do feel things sometimes. Get away. It's popping up.
That's funny. God, look out for that. Jeez. Go.
Fine. Why, thank you. I got a compliment.
What was it?
Say, you want me to sing? You don't want me to sing. I did sing before. You can sing. Sing a song.
I'm going to line you up execution style.
Oh, no, love.
Yeah, see, Andrew's going too. Yeah, it is. It's
Oh,
gorgeous.
is that it?
Yep.
That's the residential one.
This is Philadelphia Alley. So, welcome to Philadelphia Alley, aka Dueler's Alley. That's what it was named before it was called Philadelphia Alley. So we can scoot down a little bit, Dennis. Or Matthew, if you want to get on the other side so she can still film. That way everybody can kind of see down there. You definitely don't want to be on the street.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Somebody lost a toy.
A little binky there, yeah.
Very interesting that something's hanging there. I stay out here because at the end there is a giant, beautiful mansion, and I'll tell you why we don't go all the way through once I'm done with the story. So, we all tell the story of one specific duel that actually occurred here because we can prove that it actually happened. So, there's a doctor that moves here from Rhode Island. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents, and she has an attorney that tells her to get rid of the doctor because he's just after her new cash. To prove that he's not, he comes to Charleston. So, what happens from there is he is being sent, his coachman that brings him into town sets him up to be robbed and killed. So it's not a very good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody walking by, his name is Ralph Isaacs. So Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from, Rhode Island. So R.I. will show up here on your spirit boxes. We need the second clue to find out who it's from. Might not want to be so obvious with the report. People get weirded out by that stuff. So Ralph says, hey man, you don't want to stay here. This guy's going to try to kill you. I got somewhere where you can stay. He takes him to 59 Church Street. Again, keywords are slowed down. So 59 Church Street is just at the next road ahead. The doctor rents the room from Ralph's friends, and him and Ralph become friends. The doctor's practice starts to take off. He's making his own money now, which means Amanda's moving down soon. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because he whistled all the time. Every haunted city has a whistler. Ours is a doctor. So that's why the story's called The Whistling Doctor. Ralph and the doctor go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. So they talk about the plays on the way home. One night they go see William III. The doctor loved the new actress, but Ralph did not. They start arguing. It gets heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée Amanda back home. Yeah, I told you it's the most picturesque place, right? Everybody takes pictures down there. So, Ralph is from here. He goes to see his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Not a very good play from a friend anyway, but the doctor sees the ad and he rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. Let's get this settled. They come down, they take their 20 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted the courage and bravery to show up for the fight, and he's willing to forgive. But Ralph, he has his one shot. Sorry, Chris. He puts the one bullet in the doctor's kneecap, and the doctor doesn't die right away. Ralph made his point. He's pissed. His friends pick him up, and they carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. Also remember, this is a doctor, so he probably tried to bleed himself out, and that's probably how he died. They say as you walk through this alley, obviously you can hear the whistles when you walk through with a voice recorder. I don't say that you can actually hear it with your own ears, but I do invite you to take a walk without a tour guide with you to be able to turn on your voice recorders and check it out later. Now, when I was going down there, you guys, again, you're the weirdos. Everybody wants to put a spirit box or an EMF meter somewhere nearby where this man's house is. Reason being is at the end of this alley, there are bricks that are sun-dried from slave children. There's a full handprint and fingerprints in those bricks at the end. Everybody wants to stop and take a picture or put an EMF meter near it. Stories in a cemetery does not take you to actual cemeteries because people don't hang out where they're buried after they're gone. They go to their mansion 400 miles away, like Philadelphia to Charleston. That's why we don't actually go visit and walk through cemeteries. You do not get actual activity or enough activity to prove something's going on. You get stories like this in places where things actually occurred that hold on to the memories, kind of like what we talked about at Lodge Out. So, have we had any words pop up on your word list? We get a lot from this alley from your particular device.
Sing came up. Bend,
Sing.
late, scale, fine.
Okay. Not hearing anything.
That's it so
Have you
far.
heard anything on your end? Okay. Chris, nothing? You haven't shouted anything? Okay, so just for an example, the words brass and pan showed up on that word list a week or two ago. I had no idea what the hell it meant, but we were standing here. So I'm like, let me look up the revolvers. I know nothing about guns. dueling revolvers had a brass pan on them. So it was a part of some sort. I don't know what it does, but it was interesting enough that it was from the same time era of when this duel actually occurred. So I found things like that I still learn. It's not like I'm out like the tour company here has to tell me what to tell you guys. I have to learn what these things are. So if something pops up in the recordings that I don't understand or on your word list, I'm deep diving. I'm gonna go deeper and find out what it actually means. So we're not walking much further, Larry, so we got you. We're gonna actually go sit down for a bit close to a cemetery and kind of show you a few legends and lore about what's gonna happen to our next big investigative location, which will be our last stop, where we go and deep dive into a female pirate. If you're into pirates, this is your story, because it is crazy. So let's go see St. Philip's Church and kind of tell you what goes on up in there.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to say Philadelphia Alley. Cumberland. Did you hear that yelling?
Oh, just a second ago.
Yeah, like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah. What was it?
Somebody yelling. I don't know.
It was so significant. I was like, what? What did they say? I missed it.
Wow, there's creepiness going on down there.
And so the words have a timestamp, so I'm guessing like when he reviews stuff, he'll
Yeah, match it up.
match it to like where was the
Mm-hmm.
where were we at that moment.
Tired.
Are you?
Yeah. After all our
There's
activity.
St. Philip's Church. We can pass this today, I think. Did we?
Well, I don't remember
Maybe
this
not, maybe
tree.
No. No, maybe not.
It just felt really like heavy. Not like someone's pushing it. Just like pressure.
Maybe.
Anything like that. I've had people claim to be touched. Okay, fair enough.
So.
Alright, if you guys notice the wall behind you, that is the wall to Philadelphia Alley. So there's a doorway in the middle of it. That used to be the shortcut to get over to St. Philip's Cemetery in the event that there was a loser to the duel. Keep in mind that most duels, the gun was shot in the air and there wasn't a loser, basically a dead person. But when there was, that alley didn't go all the way through to Cumberland to just take around over here. They had to go all the way down to Queen Street and come around to take them over to the cemetery. So this was a shortcut just to get over there. I call it the Death Gate. So I don't know where I found that little nugget of knowledge, but it's fun. Let's talk about a couple of things here. Everybody likes, all the tours go up to the church. Okay? There's two different sides to the cemetery. So we're sitting on the eastern side, and then there's the western side. If you're from here and you belong to the church, you get buried in the eastern side. Charles Pinckney, Eliza's husband, is buried over here. The other side is for everybody else that belongs to the church. So if you're not from here, you go over there. Your 7th Vice President, John Calhoun, his sarcophagus is over there. They did move him several times trying to figure out where the hell he was supposed to go. They didn't know if he belonged here, if he was from here, so forth and so on. But he is on the other side now. But everybody goes up to that church because on this side, there is a sign that reads, "There's no ghost at St. Philip's except the Holy Ghost." There's a reason. They don't want guys like me up there trying to recreate what happened with the gadgets that we're now holding. 1886, yes. Sorry, I had to get the year right. 1886, a young lady died by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. Her initials, as cheesy as it is. Sue Howard Hardy. I wouldn't bring it up if I haven't seen it or heard it for myself. Just a few weeks ago, I had a young lady with earbuds in, wasn't listening to me at all because she's a teenager and that's what they do. And all of a sudden, she just goes, SHH. I was already done telling the story. So we all looked at her, and she, like, her mom pulled out her earbud, and she's like, what did you just say? She's like, I heard SHH. I don't know what it means. So we were all like, holy cow. But yeah, good stuff.
Wow.
But anyway, she dies 6 days after her stillborn child. 1987, there's a local photographer in town taking pictures of all of our beautiful cemeteries. He captures an apparition in the photo. He can't debunk it, which means he sends it off to Kodak. That's where we used to send our pictures for you youngins in the crowd. Kodak cannot debunk the picture either. However, the picture is cursed. So I'm going to ask that females do not touch the tablet as I go down the line. Females that actually handle even the digital version of this photo, you'll get the same symptoms like what we talked about at Big John's. Pregnant females, not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the story. I'm not going to be the guy that cursed your family 9 months from now because you had a great vacation. So please do not touch the tablet. I will show off how the apparition works and show you the full photo. So I'm going to start down here at this end. So that's the full photo. Your apparition is here.
Wasn't there an Elijah earlier? Like, did we hear that
Seems
name
like it,
in some other story?
So all
I'm trying to think if it was him saying Elijah.
it's like a shawl. Like
We can
she's
ask him.
bent over, praying over. And the baby basket is pretty clear.
So it's her back.
I'm just saying,
Those sprays how it
It's been a busy day.
well, I've really met
From
the
the
one
other things
activity.
that we were called on
Yes.
here with the words.
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, yes, that.
Yeah.
Yes, that.
Full picture.
I was like, wait, is she talking about that? Yes.
Her shoulders with the baby basket next to her. That is her
This
grave.
is like a cell phone.
Yeah, that's what mine is.
So that's the full picture.
Yeah, sparkly
The
thing.
apparition is here. Those are her shoulders and a baby basket next to her, and that is her grave.
Wow.
Again, 1987. Can't debunk this stuff. So full pic. Apparition is right here. Her shoulders
Yeah.
and the baby basket next to her.
Holy
Oh
cow.
my gosh.
What did you say? The names of them?
Sue Howard Hardy.
Okay, the SHH.
I don't know the photographer's name off the top of my
Okay.
head.
Wow.
Somebody else
Well,
knows
the
that.
name Elijah came up when I was just a minute ago.
And we were just talking about Charles. Her husband is here. Elijah or Eliza?
Elijah.
Ah, fair enough. So I don't
Yeah.
know what that means. Could be
Okay.
somebody in there. I have no
Okay.
idea.
Yeah.
I have to look up and see if there's anybody in there named Elijah.
Okay.
No.
It says Vaughn and then Elijah and then Brave.
It might be the baby.
Oh.
This photo.
Froze. So I got to put it back. All right. So a couple other things that go on here. Let's talk about the
Picture
other
was
side of the
creepy.
cemetery.
I know.
The other side of the cemetery, we're going to talk about pirates for a few minutes because that's going to get you ready for the female pirate across the street. There is a sarcophagus close enough to the gate on the other side that you can actually walk up to and touch without having to go in. That is the sarcophagus of William Rhett. William Rhett caught a gentleman pirate named Steve Bonnet. Steve Bonnet. So Steve Bonnet, he's called the gentleman pirate because he basically bought his way into piracy. Like, he wasn't a true pirate. This guy wore a wig on his ship. Like, this is not the kind of pirate that you think of. Yeah. So the guy who caught him, his sarcophagus is right at the edge. And they did take Steve Bonnet's men and hang them on White Point Garden, which is down there by the Battery, to warn off other pirates to not come to Charleston. So again, that's the story of Steve. It's very simple. He was hidden from many political figures all over when he was captured, before he was actually hung himself. So, do you guys see the burning gas lamp off in the distance? That's what we call the pirate house.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
The pirate house has a big anchor on the front. You can't miss it. Somebody does live there, and don't go in his backyard either looking for ghosts. Yes, he gets mad. Don't ask me how I know. But it's, you know who not to make mad around this place, including the guy at the Philadelphia alley. So that's where Blackbeard's men came off their ships, had a few drinks, met with a few ladies. They dug a tunnel underneath the pirate house 1 block away to Dock Street Theater. At the time, it was called Planters Hotel. It was a whorehouse, a playhouse, and a hotel. Obviously, the whorehouse was an attraction. We're talking about pirates. But the playhouse, pirates work really well with ropes and knots. They would go there to work, making a few extra bucks before bartering with all the locals before they got back on their ships. Blackbeard has never set foot on our soil. Don't let anybody fool you about that. And there is rumor that he did bury some of his treasure in that tunnel, or had his men bury it. That is also false. North Carolinians know you're holding on to that treasure. It's not here in South Carolina. So we know that one for certain. We did fill in that tunnel in the 1990s. That is not a myth or a legend. It was real. So we filled it in because we're below sea level. It probably flooded like crazy. It was probably causing all kinds of problems. Why it took us so long to fill it in, I have no idea. So we're going to go talk about a female pirate now, and you guys are going to use your devices to hopefully communicate with her. You can kind of take a break with that too. I want to make sure we're saving footage.
I've seen this word more than once.
There's your name of the project ship.
Okay, right when you said that, it changed.
It's the Kingston.
Okay, because I was like, I wonder if that's the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Love it. Look at paralysis.
Yeah, that came up a couple times. These were earlier as we were walking, like when we were over at the church.
Yeah.
These came
So
up.
we normally
That
get
came up.
religious terms on your list whenever
Okay.
we're near the church. So we'll get like altar, Bible, priest.
Oh, interesting.
We get it
Okay.
all the time. So, but that's awesome.
Okay.
Normally the word king will show up on one of their spirit boxes. I don't think
Okay.
I've ever seen it on yours.
Okay. All
So
right.
yes, I'm excited about that.
Literally, right when you said,
Nice.
these are the questions you can ask, and it changed. And I was like, huh.
What was the other question, other than the
The
name,
name
of
of the parent? Name of the parent?
Yeah, name of the parents.
parents? Okay. Oh,
And then just with you recording, be mindful of the other tour groups.
yep.
Okay. They don't like to be recorded either.
Yep, understood.
I actually have tour guides try to pitch my people tours all the time.
That's crazy.
It happens.
Matthew's doing good.
Oh, is he okay?
Well, don't know if it's something.
He's a drama queen too, though.
Yeah, he is a drama queen still.
Did he fall down?
Could be something. Alright, so was this brick building the government building you're talking about?
No.
Oh.
So the building we're discussing, let me kind of
Just
give you the
thinking-
layout. So it's this one here. And if you notice, this brick building actually has some bricks that look like a roof up there.
Yes.
So in between serving the wars, they actually built more things on the back of it because they had to put the building to use. So it was office buildings or textile or mercantile buildings. Like they were manufacturing little things in there in between the wars.
Okay.
So when it was a war, obviously they evacuated.
Right.
But there used to be, I don't know if it's still there or not or how it connects, but this building does connect to the apartments behind here somehow.
Okay.
I don't know how. I've never been back to those back rooms.
But this was built in, what did you say,
1713.
Okay.
That's when it was finished.
What was the woman's name?
Anne Bonny. And her friend was Mary Reed.
We could go up around the front.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, just be mindful of other tourists.
Okay. Well, I'm the one up here. Well, come on suddenly here.
Yeah, over here, over there.
Are you better now? Well, you tell them, I don't know.
So Kingston was the name? Is that what you said? Right.
What was the name? So we can ask what was the name of Anne Bonny's parents.
Parents.
Yeah. Anne Bonny's parents. Who were they? What were their names?
Where is it? Froze again.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. So here's are those for real? Are those apples?
Where do you see apples?
Right there on that tree.
Oh,
Those
sure
apples.
enough.
That cannot be real. Those have to be. Because,
Let's see if I get a heat signature from those apples.
first of all, that looks like a temptation. Aren't you supposed to have people in yours?
Oh, well,
I don't know how you can.
yeah, I mean,
On top of the thing.
yeah, I think that's fake. I mean, the fact that there's pineapples put up there.
Yeah. And then the apples. have
Right,
got
yeah,
to be
right,
fake.
yeah. Oh, there's the gallows.
Oh, where they killed people?
Well, that's
Or
where they.
ridicule them or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Punish them.
the pillory.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, but those. I mean, that's what people did. That's awful.
It makes me just. I'm like, handle that.
I know. Like, look at the picture of the person in it.
Back in the day, like if I was watching it, it would just break my heart.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, all the cold spots are on the ground.
Okay.
That's been
Which
pretty
would make sense.
consistent.
Oh, living. Yes, we are living.
Oh, that's somebody. Wow, that's nice. Check out that setup. Oh yeah, check out the lamps.
Looking way off track.
Don't worry, he's not going to let us go with this equipment.
No.
Any words come up?
Well, living, maybe their last name was Livingston.
Oh, yeah, wouldn't that be something?
I know. But. Are you resting? He was resting. Yeah, well, I didn't think that, but I was like, maybe it's Livingston. Rested. Okay. 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 Oh, interesting. Okay.
What did you learn?
And none of those were right.
Oh, France.
All right, let's rein everybody in. Let's go visit Larry. Go ahead and stop.